For the grafters of Oz, it's all over. Farewell so long. After a hectic circus, Meghan, or simply call me Meg as she seems to prefer, and her extra handbag Harry have finally departed Australia. It's completely deserted. There are no people in the background, and for a few seconds there are pictures of this man's back. Why? As they have nothing, I have invested in women my entire life. Is it finally possible for me to invest in myself? Oh God, is that not the worst thing she's ever said? Oh my gosh, she is not allowed to use the internet or read the newspaper. A video that compares 2018 with 2026. The significant distinction between the two can be seen here. You have real crowds, people, you had real expectations. Unquestionably, there was more vitality back then than there is now with Charlotte Griffith's Miss G-string. Suddenly, Prince Harry's tiny side is beginning to reveal shocking facts. Do you believe it's because we've all read the messages and have the evidence? Nevertheless, it's Meghan, the Duchess of Sausages. How could the Duchess of Sausages, Meghan, show up in such a small group? Harry's expression is like, wait, hang on, where is everyone gone? Why am I not loved? Meghan most likely felt the same way. This must be the greatest fraud of all time. Attendees were duped into spending a lot of money to spend a weekend with Meghan. I would be requesting a reimbursement. For this reason, a restraining order will be issued. You and your incessant drama and messy retaliation are not welcome anywhere near our British royal family. Yes, there isn't nobody in there. The Horacles have no supporters. There are a couple truly uncomfortable parts. Is Marl buying into this one-time event when everything she wore was instantly made available for purchase wherever she showed up? She is investing in and sharing every outfit she wears. Grifting is one thing, but making a pretend royal visit to Children's Hospital while selling your clothes online seems to have gone too far. Say it aloud, 47 individuals, not 400 or 4,000. In Australia, 47 people agreed that $3,000 was a reasonable amount to spend a weekend with the Duchess of Sussex. Even so, it's probably a generous figure. A brief clip from her best life removed. According to Grog, there are roughly 60 persons in this video, not close to 300 for sure. It appears that the event was a complete failure. Meghan's reluctance to be taken around makes sense. Yes, I suppose she noticed the crowd and wanted to leave after just 2 minutes. These are some pictures of the crowds enjoying themselves. That's all. Meghan had already departed. Was that the number of people inside? Because the tables in the back of the venue hadn't even been touched when the pictures surfaced, as they always do, the glasses remained inverted, the napkins remained folded as if a restaurant had opened and no one had shown up. There are 4 individuals seated at certain tables and just 3 at others. This was a huge, huge failure. This was meant to be the victorious return, the comeback tour. Returning on the global scene, Harry and Meghan serve as a reminder of their significance. Rather than angry mobs or protest placards, Australia provided them something considerably more destructive. Australia remained silent. Let's return to the most remarkable part of this entire situation, the getaway for her best life. Indeed, that's actually what it was named. Sydney's Intercontinental Coogee Beach hosted her best life. 5 stars, views of the ocean, everything. They act that way merely to project an air of importance as if they were the president or something. They don't exist. The good news is that the security queue wouldn't have taken long because there are most likely 47 people in it. Yes, the starting price for tickets was $2,699. The premium package exceeded $3,200. What was promised too? A private, intensive, life-changing weekend spent with Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. And they are essentially not attracting any crowds, which is a major issue. They are not inviting anyone to their gatherings. Their event prices are excessive, an opportunity to make connections, find inspiration, and return home as a different woman. $3,000. What did those women really receive now? At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Meghan showed up. 2 hours after she sat down for a Q&A on stage, she and Harry were riding in the back of a Range Rover to a rugby match. Meghan Markle stays with these women for 2 hours. Oh, the Moy is ready to depart. 2 hours. Remember that the opportunity to spend time with her cost them $3,200 Australian dollars. 2 hours, 2 hours. She spent 2 hours at a $3,000 weekend retreat. What were they calling Meghan Con, Megstock, where people had to go? The ultimate girls' weekend, but why was she there? I believe it was 2 hours, not even. By the way, she was running late, of certainly a lot of security. There was essentially no protection at tables 1 and 8. Additionally, no filming or taking pictures was permitted during those 2 hours, and security checked baggage at the front as it was an airport. Would you think that Prince Harry and Meghan will have earned an incredible $10 million from this trip? Ted Jenin, an expert, says this is remarkable. Audience aggregation, premium access, and brand leverage might increase Meghan and Harry's earnings. Speaking engagements and appearances might bring in $2 million for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, $5 million via brand agreements and sponsorships, and $5 million from the value of media and content. You had to pay an extra $500 on top of the $3,000 you had already spent in order to even get a group picture with Meghan. After that, Markle spent an hour responding to Gemma's enquiries. "I am a victim," was all that was said. Harry delivered the same spiel, saying, "Oh my God, I'm taking $3,000 from each of you. I'm a victim, the most trolled person. You've paid $3,000, you've flown to Sydney, and you've checked into this hotel. Basically, I'm a victim. Life is so difficult. Now I want you to just sit with it for a while. After you just handed over £3,000, I've spent my whole life investing in women," the woman you came to meet says out loud to you after spending 90 minutes talking about how difficult her life has been. "You're eager and dressed up. Is it finally possible for me to invest in myself?" After that, she disappears. "I've spent all of my life investing in women," Meghan said to the women at the event, literally leaving before the main course to watch rugby. "Is it finally possible for me to invest in myself?" What investments is she referring to? The Netflix series, since it didn't work out. I believe it was a documentary on polo. I believe there was also one about the Girl Scouts. There was also that Christmas special and the podcast, both of which were unsuccessful endeavors. "Oh, this was always the plan," the organizers stated afterward. "I mean, everything that these two have touched has been a disaster." Meghan had a great experience, although she was only ever confirmed for the Q&A part. "All right. Yes," tell the women seated at the unoccupied tables in the rear, the folks who have been requesting refunds, and the 47 paying patrons who attended out of the 300 seats that were available. Only 80 tickets were sold overall, and the majority of those went to journalists. There were no crowds for them at the Sydney Opera House, and if you look closely you can see that they clearly expected crowds because there were barricades up, like fences waiting in anticipation, and nobody was present. The crowd went mild. That was an actual Australian newspaper headline. "I didn't write that, a professional journalist wrote that, and I think it's the most well-crafted sentence of 2026 so far. I don't know which paper was one of the big Australia papers' headline, and the crowd went mild." The Sydney Paperilliant had a headline about the gruesome twosome turn Australia into their own ATM. The problem is that the retreat wasn't even the most embarrassing part of the trip because, at least in a hotel, you can conceal the empty seats, turn the cameras away from the back tables and work the angles. On Sydney's streets, however, there is nowhere to hide. These are the worst takes. You can see the fences, all the empty space, and the 30 or 40 people in the backdrop, but that's all. They are the worst offenders. And when you see Harry and Meghan walking, there are no people around them. Harry and Meghan came to Australia expecting what exactly? A repeat of 2018, when real crowds crowded the pavements. It's a far cry from the tens of thousands who lined up and camped out as you can see there 8 years ago when they last came. Look at the crowds back then, the signs, the Australian flags, they were adored. Oh, and that was the same trip that, incidentally, they referred to as the catalyst for leaving the royal family. Compare the two. Oh, and Meghan allegedly added, "Oh gee, I can't believe I'm not being paid for this," on that same trip. Really, when people were truly thrilled to see them, when the excitement was genuine, what they received instead were crowd control barriers. Beautiful, brand new, expertly constructed barriers that stretched down the street on both sides, empty. Yes, they had these barriers. Someone ordered those barriers. Someone actually sat in a planning meeting and said, "Yes, we're going to need crowd control here." They were expecting, I don't know, hundreds of people to flood the streets of Sydney and be excited about, "Oh, you know, there's going to be the sausages in there," but no, nothing of the sort. After that, 50 people passed by, the most of them heading in a different direction. The camera crew put in a lot of effort to make it appear as though it wasn't by using low angles and tight shots. No, this is awful optics, and I mean, Meghan should be really upset about this. Look at all the photos with the same person. For what seemed like an eternity, the same man was shot from behind because, if you keep the camera on one man's back, you don't have to show the 100 meters of vacant sidewalk behind him. However, people aren't stupid and they never were, so they paused the movie. The world was able to see what Australia truly thought of this visit in a matter of hours after they screenshotted it and shared it. Then you have this extreme framed camera angle of how many people were talking about here, about 40 people as well, and they're really trying to make the same in some shots that, yeah, people were caring about them when they actually didn't. The crowd at the Opera House, which is being used as evidence that people attended, parents waiting in queue to bring their children to free school holiday events, none of them were there for Harry and Meghan, instead they were there for the puppet show. Honestly, who could blame them at this point? The ideal blueprint to completely fade into obscurity, because this is what our eyes are saying. You can't make this up, this isn't artificial intelligence, this is the brutal reality. I have to stop now because the next part of this isn't amusing or sarcastic. So these phonies could go up and fearing like they care so much about these kids. What? Well, she's done that. The visit to the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne was framed as a heartfelt tribute to Princess Diana's legacy of connecting with sick children. It truly upset parents, nurses, and Australians who watched it unfold in real time and couldn't believe what they were seeing. She's done that several times. I mean, the first big time was Uvalde, right? When all those kids were killed down in Texas and she showed up with a camera crew to, I guess, stare at to give away donuts or something. It was like, but they film it, of course. If they didn't film it, it wouldn't count and they wouldn't do it. And look, one 12-year-old girl named Novi said that Harry encouraged her to keep being brave. That's a beautiful moment, really, but then you learn that kids with cancer, kids receiving chemotherapy, and kids without healthy immune systems were allegedly removed from their hospital beds and wheeled into the foyer to be lined up for the visit unmasked. Except when you go to Children's Hospital and you're talking to you're using these kids with cancer who have lost their hair as props to sell your latest outfit. That's disgusting. Doctors will tell you that for a child undergoing chemotherapy, a simple infection isn't just uncomfortable, it can be fatal. These aren't kids with a bad cold, these are kids fighting for their lives. I'm disgusted with the hospitals surrounded by people who just flew in from abroad and spent days shaking hands across the country. And someone thought it would be a good idea to wheel them out into a crowded foyer for a photo opportunity. The hospital lined them up in the atrium like, remember, let's make this quick. She had to be in there quickly, so it's likely that her people were pushing them, saying things like, no, they can't go from room to room to room, that takes too long. I want some bald kids if they don't shave their heads. Get these sick kids together in the atrium so they can just walk in and walk out and get the sickest kids you have in here. And then, and I really need you to hear this, the outfit Meghan was wearing went live for purchase on her fashion website within minutes of leaving that hospital. Oh, and also Meghan was on this fake tour, wearing designer clothes that she put on a platform. She is an investor in an AI platform that allows people to purchase the clothing she wears. She wore this $1,200 dress to a hospital visit in Melbourne, and then she wore it to a women's homelessness shelter and posted it on her platform. She is literally making money off of events that should have been low-key engagements for her to go out and do some charitable work. One commentator put it best, if they didn't film it, it doesn't count. If they did film it, make sure the checkout button is ready. The outcry in Australia was genuine. Formal complaints were made to the hospital, and investigations were requested because some actions, certain times, stood out from the crowd and made people honestly wonder, who are these individuals? At this women's homeless shelter, she wore jewelry valued at about $50,000. Where can I purchase it? I can show it to you once. Then there was Blondie Beach, where Harry and Meghan saw survivors and first responders from the terror attack in December 2025. No, this is psychotic. I mean, this is crazy. I can't believe this is the scheming-est, weaseliest move I've ever seen her make. 15 people were killed and 40 injured in an anti-Semitic attack during a Hanukkah celebration. The community is still in shock. And look, it's okay to show up to acknowledge a tragedy. Did you see that? She did it again this week, which they that Bondi terror attack, the she went to Bondi Beach. They put that outfit up. 15 people were killed here on Hanukkah. You don't want the look. You don't want the look of someone honoring. I know. What is that? Did someone order a hero? I can't believe she did that, and I can't believe they gathered first responders and survivors for Meghan Markle and Harry to go there and sell her outfits. That is so gross. Yes, but when the outfit you're wearing at the massacre memorial site goes live for purchase on your fashion website the moment you leave, people notice and don't forget. What is wrong with what's wrong with her? However, the moment that went viral wasn't the outfit, rather it was the woman on the sand. As Harry, Meghan and their sizable entourage strolled along Bondi Beach, which was incidentally mostly deserted, a woman was lying on the sand, sunbathing, minding her own business, exercising her divinely granted right to lie on a public beach in peace. Did the entourage pass by her? Hundreds of meters of deserted beach stretched out in all directions. No, they walked right over her, past her head, around her feet, as if she were a speed bump, as if she didn't exist at all. Observe how unconcerned Australians are about these two. Look, nothing, I mean nobody is moving. Please find that woman on the sand and award her with a medal. We Australians are known for our love of the beach and sunshine. We're not moving for anyone, especially these two non-royals, and you know they're here to make money. And this woman, this absolute legend, didn't move a muscle, didn't look up, didn't acknowledge them, didn't even give them the dignity of a glance. Because she did what Australia did all week, she became the unintentional symbol of the entire tour. She just didn't care, and this woman couldn't care less about Meghan and Harry, not a single no, that was horrible. Then there was the little girl with the sketch. This is the video that received millions of views in a single day. If you watch it once, you will understand why Meghan was attempting to perform the Catherine shot, which is, as you are aware, a picture of a child. The kids, you know, are drawn to Catherine and Meghan wants to follow suit. Meghan is on the beach doing what Meghan does, working the area, being noticed and making sure the moment is captured. A young girl is drawing in her sketchbook nearby and Meghan leans in. The girl looks up, then slowly, quietly, with absolute no drama, no crying, no scene, she says, pulling her sketchbook away, closing it and holding it to her bosom out of reach. No, you're not going to touch my book. You're not going to touch my drawings. Get away, you witch. Yes, I'm making stuff up, of course, and I'm not claiming that the girl actually said that, just a young Australian youngster making a very obvious personal decision. No, not for you, this is mine. The comments below the video gave the whole story. Kids are familiar with animals and kids, and they always know that the young girl did what the entire nation was thinking. It's possible that the girl was simply defending her drawing, or it could have no significance, but the fact that millions of people watched that video and felt something tells you everything about Harry and Meghan's current situation. Meghan, you're not made for this. I'm telling you, not as a friend. You know that I'm not your friend, but I'm telling you as an advisor, as PR, do not get your videos around children. When a child pulling away a sketchbook feels like a cultural moment, you have a serious problem. This is going to happen. Perhaps the girl was very sweet, but she also didn't like the bad juju of the Duchess of Sausages. Let me give you one number, just one, and I want you to hold it next to everything you've just heard. Pamela Anderson held a public event in Australia that same weekend in the same country during the same general time frame, and 2,000 people attended. I honestly don't have a follow-up to that, I'll just let it breathe. Tickets were $85. Pamela Anderson, $85 tickets, 2,000 people. Meghan Markle, $3,000 tickets, 47 individuals. Pamela Anderson outbid the Duchess of Sussex by about 40 to 1 at less than 3% of the price. She said, I was the most trolled person in the world, man or woman, and I had been bullied and attacked for 10 years. I'm still here. The lady who has built a living by making fun of the royal family claims that the monarchy is racist and that she has harassed her own employees. Not to mention that the charity Harry co-founded is suing him for defamation after he was accused of bullying there. The final victims are her and Harry. To make money, they will take advantage of anyone. More significant than the vacant seats, the leaked pictures, and the woman on the beach is what this trip really showed. For the past 6 years, Harry and Meghan have been functioning under a basic miscommunication. They consider people's interest in them to be equivalent to affection, that controversy means relevance and that attention equals love. It doesn't. The way people slow down after a vehicle crash is how people watch the Oprah interview. They can't quite turn away, not because they care. Be patient with us. In his life, this man has been given everything and more. He has had an extremely wealthy life with no financial problems. Nevertheless, he discusses it as though he has had the most difficult existence of anyone. Not to mention, Prince William also lost his mother. Furthermore, he hasn't gone around asking for compassion everywhere. However, that level of focus has a limited lifespan. Additionally, it expired this week in Australia. Their desire for independence and seclusion led them to leave the royal family. Then, on deserted streets, they built barriers to manage crowds. They expressed a desire for a typical life. After charging $3,000 for 90 minutes, they departed prior to dessert. Carrie was unable to receive her therapy. Do you recall? Yes, because they lacked an HR department. Exactly. Thus, obtaining a therapist was impossible. No, not at all. He knows Elton John, who will purchase his carbon footprint and erase it, but he won't assist him in finding a therapist. In other words, he was acquainted with the monarch and/or queen at the time. The company refuted it. Apparently, they were only able to locate one therapist, and Harry feels that he is more important than you. Woe, thus the victim is a surety girl actor and influencer. They claim to be concerned about vulnerable individuals and mental health. Then they wheeled immunized toddlers into a lobby for pictures while selling clothing at a slaughter site. The discrepancy between your actions and words eventually becomes unavoidable. Australia did not overlook anything. She's really clear. The main conclusion is that she is the most trolled person in the world, which is why she does not stop. She also made fun of her husband's relatives, you know. Yes, a series of episodes worth millions and millions of dollars. While all of this was taking place on the other side of the globe, back in Britain, something was being discussed in private that is far more significant than what transpired at the Intercontinental Cookie Beach. I think Harry should be kept well away from William and Catherine as well as the kids. He has shown that he is capable of more than just betraying and harming his sibling. I believe that his animosity has shown him to be nearly unhinged. Prince William is done with his brother, according to those with actual knowledge, not gossip merchants or unnamed sources, not cooling off, not taking a rest, but done. Prince William has had enough of him. He has had enough of him. I don't believe any will return. Prince William has always had a close-knit group of pals when you consider his personality, and with Prince William it has always been known. You're out if you betray him, that's all, it's finished. Hate is the word being used. Those who have gained the right to say so have stated unequivocally that William despises Harry. Is William now at the point where you might say that he truly despises his brother? I'm not sure if this is a strong enough statement. It's not a very strong term in my opinion. Harry's exclusion from William's coronation was the next topic of discussion. Not present, not welcomed, not invited. The pinnacle moment for his own brother. Harry also watches it from a Montecito television. Prince William does not intend for his younger brother to attend the event. And that would be a seismic event, Tash, because it would be declaring, it's done, it's over forever. Consider that. Together, these two boys strolled behind their mother's coffin. At their grandmother's burial, they stood side by side. Today, one of them could have to give formal orders to security to prevent the other from seeing his kids. That restraining order will be definitely required. That man keeps away from my family and my kids will be communicated to his security and police protection. It's no longer a family drama. That is far more permanent and much more depressing. With his animosity and this blaming, I believe he has demonstrated that he is nearly unhinged. He appears to have concentrated. Everything stems from Prince William, and if Prince William receives a complete restraining order against Harry once his father passes away, I wouldn't hold it against him. 47 individuals following the Netflix agreements, the Oprah interview, the book, the documentaries, and 6 years of making headlines worldwide. However, Meghan's blinking is out of control, so I'm going to zoom close. You may see it for yourself despite the video's poor quality. This is it. Observe Meghan's blinking, the insane blink, and she is genuinely furious. 47 persons with unused glasses at the back tables in a partially empty hotel ballroom. A sun worshipper who was too lazy to look up. A brother who seemed to have had enough, and a young girl who pulled her drawing clothes. Harry won't be present during William's coronation. And at last, recognition. I know you're a little uncomfortable about this, Tash, and I know there's a lot of discussion about it, but at last, the mainstream media has acknowledged that we will eventually need to deal with this since Charles's health is so bad. There was no need for protest from Australia. They didn't require protests, placards, or irate opinion pieces. They simply failed to appear. And ultimately that silence, that utterly unimpressed, apathetic silence, was the worst terrible review Harry and Meghan have ever gotten. For this reason, a restraining order will be issued. You and your incessant drama and messy retaliation are not welcome anywhere near our British royal family. Because you can spin negative news, argue with criticism, and reject hostility, but you can't spin an empty room. You know what to do if this video hits you in a different way. Please like, comment, subscribe, and let me know below what your favorite Australian moment was. Journey that most affected you. Every remark is being read by me.